the Green Revolution. It is regarded as the greatest revolution in the country, which helped to transform the economy from food scarcity to food self sufficiency. It is a term used for describing the manifold increase in India's farm production and productivity, particularly in case of major cereal crops like wheat. Now, children, the key elements of this new strategy included the following, and the four most important ones I've written for you. All right, that is the use of high yielding variety of seeds, HYV seeds. Then, improved irrigation facilities, use of fertilizers, use of pesticides and insecticides. Apart from this, the other things were improvement in marketing and storage facilities, consolidation of land holdings, supply of agricultural credit, meaning providing loans to the farmers at lower rates of interest, rural electrification. So the Green Revolution had a big impact on Indian agriculture. It enabled Indian agriculture to change from subsistence to commercial and market oriented. Then it led to the development of intensive agricultural production system that increased production and paved the way for self-sufficiency with respect to food grains. So the adoption of new technology under Green Revolution created more employment opportunities in agriculture sector. It increased the rural prosperity. Though Green Revolution was a spectacular achievement in agriculture, it improved the rural prosperity, it improved the production of food grains. However, it did have a lot of environmental effects also. So at present, the Green Revolution is being criticized by the environmental scientists. They allege that it caused land degradation due to overuse of fertilizers and pesticides, drying aquifers because a lot of water was pulled out for irrigation, and vanishing biodiversity. But if we see, without Green Revolution, much more land would have been converted for agriculture, thereby destroying forests, wetlands, and other ecosystems. Now, children, let us discuss the problems of Indian agriculture. So, there are lots of problems which are faced by the Indian farmers, and we'll discuss about them. The first is small and fragmented holdings. So, this means majority of the land holdings in India are very small. These small and fragmented meaning that the farms, they are scattered all around. Fragmented holdings cannot promote modern agriculture, and they do not generate enough income to buy new agricultural inputs or to make heavy investments. Therefore, no scientific cultivation with improved techniques and seeds can take place. So, small sized land holdings lead to waste of time, labor, and underutilization of irrigation facilities. So, over the years, the farms, because of the law of inheritance, the farm size have become smaller and smaller with each generation because the land is inherited by the son, and then that son, when he has children, that gets further divided. So, as a result of this, this when this farm size is very small, it becomes uneconomic in nature, and there's a lot of wastage of land also in the raising the boundaries and all. So as a result of this, the production per farm is less. Then poor quality of seeds. Even today, children, there are many, though we have made a lot of progress in the field of agriculture, yet we see that the good quality seeds are out of reach of the poor farmers. They do not have proper storage facilities. So, when they store certain seeds for the next season, because of the lack of proper storage facilities, the seeds get spoiled. Then, lack of proper use of manure and fertilizer.
Manures and fertilizers are essential for retention of the fertility of the soil. So, in order to enhance or in order to improve the fertility of the soil and to make up for the loss of nutrients, it is very essential to apply manures and fertilizers from time to time. So, unfortunately, continuous use of Indian soil without proper use of manure has led to depletion and exhaustion of soil, resulting in low productivity. Then pests and diseases. So the protection of crops from various pests and diseases is very important. And for that, it's very important that pesticides and herbicides are used to save the crops from diseases. So farmers should be educated about the protection of crops and the use of biocides. Biocides meaning pesticides, herbicides, and weedicides. Then the next is traditional upbringing. Most of the Indian farmers do not like to change. They still like to stick to their old conventional methods, and they just want to use their primitive tools for farming. So there is little improvement, and agriculture remains subsistence type. Now, children, I'll be explaining the meaning of subsistence type when we do the types of farming in the next class. Then another thing is the erratic nature of rainfall. Now, in class 8, you have studied about the Indian monsoons, that the monsoons are very unpredictable in nature, they are unreliable in nature. So, as a result of this, because of the uncertain, irregular, and unequally distributed rainfall, the agricultural production is badly affected, resulting in scarcity of food grains. The next is droughts and floods. So uh, every year we see that floods take place in many states. There are some states like Maharashtra and all where droughts are very common. Floods take place in northeast and Bihar. So both these conditions affect the agricultural production as both conditions amount to natural calamity and cause heavy loss to the farmer. Then excessive pressure on land. With increasing population and limited land, our agriculture is mostly subsistence type. Moreover, most of the farmers are still ignorant, they are illiterate, they do not know about the latest technological improvements which have taken place in the field of agriculture. Although efforts are being made by providing all modern means of education like television sets, schools, free education programs, the progress is still very slow. So, and it is one of the biggest drawbacks to the progress of a developing country like ours. So, pressure on land means that most of the people, more people are engaged in agriculture than they should actually be. Like, for example, if in a plot of land, just two or three people are required, over there, around 10 people are there. So, because of this, there's a lot of pressure on land. Then, low yield. In India, the average yield of crops is much lower as compared to other countries because of all the reasons which have been mentioned above. So, uh, these are the various problems which are posed by, which are faced by the Indian farmers.
So we know how important agriculture is for the Indian economy. Therefore, it becomes very, very important on the part of the government to pay a lot of attention to this sector, especially with a view to improve the living conditions of the people, of the ordinary farmer especially, who lives in the rural areas. So the government announced the national agricultural policy in July 2000, and the main aim was to remove the major problems of agriculture, and it was designed to raise the agricultural production. So, some of the salient features and objectives of national agricultural policy are modernizing the agricultural sector. Modernizing the agricultural sector meaning, because even today most of the farmers, they still use outdated equipments, so they should be made aware of the latest agricultural equipments which are available. And at the same time, the government can provide, and it has been providing, financial aid to the farmers so that they can purchase those agricultural equipments. Then enhancing the yield of major commodities. This means to improve the production of crops per acre. Then raising the productivity of inputs, meaning the use of high yielding variety seeds should be increased, the use of manures should be increased. Then protecting the interest of underprivileged farmers, because there are just a handful of farmers who are very rich, but a majority of them are still very poor. So the government should take steps to protect the interest of underprivileged farmers by providing them loans at lower rates of interest. Then checking environmental degradation. So in this context, children, I'd like to explain that organic farming in the recent years, organic farming has gained a lot of importance because it has been found that these chemical fertilizers and pesticides have been very harmful for the environment. So the environmental degradation should be checked, and agricultural research should be done so as to improve the production per acre of land, and training should be given to the farmers so that the production per acre improves, so that the farmers do not suffer. So, with regard to the objectives laid down by the National Agricultural Policy in July 2000, there were certain measures which were taken to accomplish the suggested objectives. The first one was to utilize the barren wasteland for agricultural purposes and afforestation. So in those areas where nothing grows, where the land is just lying barren, that land can be used for agricultural purpose. And in case the land is very infertile, then they can plant some trees. Then next is to control indiscriminate division of agricultural land for non-agricultural uses. So there are some farmers, who sell off their plots of land because for non-agricultural purpose, like for industrial use and all. So that should be discouraged. Then to enhance cropping through multi-cropping and intercropping. So multi-cropping is the practice of growing two or more crops in the same piece of land during one growing season instead of just one. And intercropping means growing two or more crops next to each other at the same time. So this way the production will increase. Now the fourth point, because India is facing acute water scarcity, so over exploitation of groundwater resources has to be checked, and rain methods like rainwater harvesting should be encouraged. Then supporting the farmers and the landless laborers by providing them with financial aid. So I hope all of you have understood this.